All right, I'm reading another section of Other Terrors and Inclusive Anthology today. And today's is called I don't know if I want to read that. Sorry, the first one that comes up is Black Screams, Yellow Stars by Max I. Gold, which is about the Holocaust. It's quite sad seeming, but I'll go for it. All right. 6 million bodies carried off on demented railways, where chimneys of ash and blood expelled their last hopes and dreams. Simultaneously, 15 million bodies, wrapped in chains of iron and bone, were ferried along oceans of greed and gore. These middle passages, these nightmares wrought by the few, defamed machinations of sinister men, were the last thoughts flashing through my mind. Soon, white hands, coarse voices, and orange flames crowded the last spaces over the horizon. Towers of white cloth, red hats stained in blood, cigarette smoke and fornication mixed with the scent of death, and cheap liquor clogged my nostrils. There was no discriminating human features on the figure in the white hood, cotton shadows outlining a pallid face, while calloused fingertips pulled the rope tauter around my neck, my sterling silver mezuzah bouncing against the thick twine. My body twitched under the heavy pressure, jolting in the opposite direction, only to be met with a deep, resentful growl. "Quit moving, Jew boy." If I hadn't known any better, I could have been fooled into thinking it was the voice of a disgruntled father, disheveled husband, or annoyed brother, though I knew all too well the source. Something inhuman, dressed in man's clothing, snarling with the voice of a monster. I didn't answer him. My body stood resolute on a flimsy deck chair under the cool shadow of a dying willow tree in the middle of a parking lot in some unknown Midwestern town. The rest of the city's law enforcement, wherever they were, seemed to be concerned with quelling civil unrest, rioters, and right-wing agitators. It all happened so quickly. I'd no recollection of past or present, only the end. Sweating, breathing, cowering, wishing in those last few breaths. Leo Frank, S.A. Beerfield, and now me. How many more would follow, and to what end? How many willow trees and parking lots? More screams, jeers, and ruffling shadows ruptured the sweet silence as another pile of disheveled flesh was tossed to my right. Come on, you get yourself up there too. There are certain things that I'm not going to say out loud. This is really upsetting, but I might read something else too. The hood said, unfolding another chair, tying another rope, following the same deadly steps. They don't have names, nor do they deserve them. The other group of white hoods and red crimson faces watched us, judged us as if we were creatures behind iron bars, and the hood was the bold lion tamer putting his own life in danger. Surely the world hasn't lost all its senses, had it? My black brother shook off the fear and the terror easier than I, at least it appeared that way. Walt, I said, and a confused look graced his brow. Shut it, you two, the hood barked. He continued to fluster and fiddle with our nooses as the wailing of sirens went on in the background, faint blasts and explosions as if small buildings had collapsed on some lowly main street, or power lines were buckling in an unlucky cul-de-sac. Time was a funny commodity, misshapen and odd in the moments. Minutes lasted for years, and the seconds ticked away like days as embers floated in the smoky night air. Paul Scott, he whispered, hands tied. Walter Goldstein, I said, eliciting a sly grin from Paul. What's funny? Paul flashed a cheeky half-smile. So that's why you're up here. I couldn't help but chuckle aloud with him, and our momentary happiness caught the attention of the hood. I thought I told you two to shut it. It hadn't been that long since I heard laughter, maybe a few hours before being taken away to hell. Still, those hours seemed like decades ago, and Paul was the only man, the only human I shared a laugh with in such a long time. I'd never been happier. The hood stepped away for a moment. Not like we could make a run for it. Don't worry, there's plenty of it to go around, Paul said, cynicism biting at his tone. Isn't that the truth? I said, nervously attempting to clutch my necklace, but my hands too were tied. Noticing my trembling, he adjusted his gaze. What's the charm on your necklace? Oh, it's not a charm, it's a mezuzah. It's kind of like a good luck charm for the home, a way to bless it. Same principle for why we carry it close to our hearts. I've never been religious, but honestly, this is all I have right now. I've had this since I was 13, I said. Paul sighed, turning himself a little bit facing me. Not much luck can do for us now, but it's a pretty nice thought to have. Keep it close to your heart, away from them, close to your heart for as long as you can. Even with his hands tied, he lifted his arms, pointing them toward my heart and the mezuzah. More explosions, thunder pulsed in the background as something was drawing closer. The marching of red hats and white hoods could be heard throughout the city, and a chill raced down my spine as I wondered how many more of us there would be before someone finally stood up to this insidious evil. Are you scared? Paul said, interrupting my thoughts. Terrified, I replied, my body feeling cold, rippling with anxiety. Me too, but I'm ready though, he said, deep brown eyes looking directly into mine, a whirling infinity of light and truth seizing across the expanse of my brain. I'm beyond terrified. Words can't describe, but I'm ready too. Staring back, I saw everything. Hatred, love, life, everything pulling together under the terrible entropic weight of history's sagging fat body. Without any regrets, a smile graced my lips, meeting Paul's when dreadful footsteps tromped over the browning grass. There were hundreds of them, red hats and white hoods, but the hood was leading the charge. Torches, cell phone lights, underscored by the roar of car exhaust pipes and engine booms. My patience is now at an end, the hood said. My heart pumped with the force of Hoover Dam, as if it were going to explode, sweat flowing down my pale skin, and the world no longer making sense. Everything without truth or meaning except Paul. The coarse voices rose in a furious orchestration of sinister melodies flowing with raucous glissandos up and down as the hood stepped closer. Hey, a familiar voice said, keep it close to your heart. I finished, one last tear rolling down my cheek as the hood placed a boot near the chair. I am ready. 6,000,001 bodies carried off on demented railways where chimneys of ash and blood expelled their last hopes and dreams. Simultaneously, 15,000,001 bodies, wrapped in chain of iron and bone, were ferried along oceans of greed and gore. These middle passages, these nightmares wrought by the few defamed machinations of sinister men, were the last thoughts flashing through my mind. Wow, that was very dark. I think I might still upload that because it's pretty powerful. Obviously quite relevant right now. Yeah, well, I hope you enjoyed it, because it wasn't particularly enjoyable, but still, thanks for watching.